Hi and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to make this really cool pom-pom. This is made with fake fur and they are super easy to make. And let's get started with the lesson. As you can see, they come in a range of colours, and this is just a sample of what my craft store had. I bought these at Spotlight. That's an Australian craft store which has all sorts of craft items. It also has homewares. It's a chain store, so there's lots of them around the country. And the fake fur comes in various lengths. This is the longest one I was able to find. Like, this is super long. And it's awesome. And then they have different colours. So this is a shorter length fur. It's so cute. Got this beautiful black one. Very, very cool. And we've got this one here. This one reminds me of a teddy bear. It's so cute. They're so soft as well. So these were listed as a luxury fake fur, so I'm not really sure on the difference, but there were some other ones with shorter fur or shorter pile, so I'm imagining that was maybe the difference between the luxury line and the not luxury line. But you just want to have a good feel of them when you're going to buy them. And these can be quite expensive. These can be up to $60 to $70 a metre, but the fabric that I saw in my store was about 150 wide. That's really wide. And I only bought 20 centimeters, and the smallest amount you could buy was 10 centimeters, which would have been totally fine as well. But I just bought 20 centimeter width, and it was by 150, and that's centimeters wide. So you can get a heap of pom-poms out of it. Let's talk about thread first. So this stuff gets everywhere. Make sure you're wearing old clothes. I can't stress that enough. I'm just wearing an old t-shirt at the moment. Or a pair of jeans is great because they don't actually stick. The fur doesn't stick to the jeans. I have chosen to use a 100% polyester thread, and this is the thicker stuff. It does come in a thinner weight, so you might use this green one when you are sewing a project. For instance, you might sew a bag or a dress or a skirt or something like that. That would be for this, because this is thinner than the one that I'm about to show you. And this one here is the upholstery thread. And as you can see, it comes in a range of colours. This is only just a small selection, but it comes in loads and loads of colours. And this is quite thicker, and this is really sturdy. And we're going to double strand this, and that works really, really good. I can't remember the price of that. I think it was around $5 or $6. 100 meters or 110 yards on that, so it's plenty to make yourself a handful of pom-poms. So I'm not going to use this one because you can see there the thickness. This green one is much thinner. I saw this just before and I thought that would probably work as well. This is cotton yarn, and it's about a 4-ply. That's an Australian 4-ply, so it's about a fingering weight in the US. And I tried to break it and I couldn't break it. I'm a bit of a wimp, so maybe it will break. But once you've sewn that through, because the reason you don't want it to break is when you're pulling the pom-pom tight, you have a lot of tension on it and you don't want it to snap. So something like this, you could use embroidery thread. That would also work. So yeah, you could use that. I haven't used that yet, but that's something you could probably use. You are also going to need something to trace around. I've just got a roll of sticky tape. It's 10 centimeters across or 4 inches, which makes a lovely size pom-pom. You can go bigger or smaller, but around 3 to 4 inches is a great size. And this one here, that was made 3.5, so, but it's so fluffy that you don't really need it really huge. But that's quite a small one. That would look great on a kid's hat. You'll need something to draw with, and you could use a Sharpie. That would work perfectly, but if you've got black fabric, the Sharpie doesn't show up. So I've got this liquid chalk dry wipe marker, and I've had this for ages, and I thought, well, that will work, and it works really well. We're also going to need a pair of scissors. This needs to be sharp. A small pair of scissors is going to work a lot better than a really long blade pair of scissors. So if you've got sort of like little craft scissors like this, you're going to need pretty sharp ones. These are quite sharp. These work perfectly. You can get like little handled scissors, snips, they're really good. Because all we're cutting through is the backing fabric of the fur, not actually the fur. And we want nice pointy ends to our scissors because we need to get up and under the fabric. That'll make total sense when I show you what to do. We also need a sewing needle. I've just got a pack here. These were just super cheap. I think they were like $2 or something. But you're going to need a sharp needle with a reasonably large eye because you're going to double strand your thread. And if you're using the cotton like this one, you're going to need a large eye anyway because that's a lot thicker than sewing thread. Now a couple of other things you can use which aren't compulsory but do come in very handy. A comb. This one's seen better days. It's got bits missing off it. It got attacked by my hair straightener. Yep, because it got melted. But it's perfect for what we need it for. It's just to brush out your pom-pom, which you are going to need to do because you accidentally sew some of the fluffy bit down. So that is great. So I'd say that you will need one of these, but if you don't have one, any sort of brush. There's another one here that I've got. This is, I think it's a dog brush. It's never been used on a dog. It's a wire brush basically, and it's only a small one, but I'm pretty sure it's a pet brush. If you've got a hairbrush of your own, that's probably going to work just as well. But I've got one of these and that's really good because I don't know if you can tell, but the bristles are bent over. Can you see that? They're bent at the tips, so when you brush it like grabs hold of the fur. A crochet hook that's quite small. This is a 2.25 or a B size crochet hook. You can see the end of that is reasonably small. You don't need one of these, but it does come in handy if you need to grab hold of your thread and like pull it out instead of using your fingers. So if you don't have one, it doesn't matter too much. But the other thing that you are going to need is a fluffy white cloud, better known as stuffing. You're not going to need this much. I just grabbed a handful out, so you're probably going to need about that much, which is not very much at all. It's just a small handful. Just goes into the middle of the pom-pom and just gives it a bit of bulk. So that's what we're going to have. Oh, most important thing is floof. We need some floof. So this is the white one. Look how long the hair is. Is it hair? I don't know. Fur. This thing is going to shed like nothing else. Give it a good shake outside, away from yourself. So as you can see, it's got really long pile. And this is the backing fabric. So it's a woven fabric. You can see there it's a woven fabric. Quite scratchy, quite stiff. And then the fur is on the other side. So obviously we're going to draw on this side, then we're going to cut it out. So let's show you how to cut it out. So as you can see, I've already made a couple from this fabric, but we're going to use this for another one. You're going to get your thing that you're going to trace around, and you don't want to go on the selvage. See those dots there? That's the selvage where it's put onto, I think put onto some sort of roll when they make the fabric, and it draws it tight, and that's pinholes basically. So we don't really want to use that, but if you get right up close to that, then like to that dotty edge, then that's okay. So we're going to pop that on there. So you can see that's lined up right near the selvage, but I haven't gone over that dotted line. I'm going to grab our pen, give it a shake, hope it doesn't leak, and we're going to trace around our... I've just used this. I also use a measuring cup. You could use a saucer. Oops. You could use a saucer or plate, anything really, anything that's round that you can trace around. So we're going to get our scissors and we're going to cut around. If you just cut like that around, it's going to cut your floof. See how I've cut this fabric here, but there's still fluff there? If I had just gone chop, 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 all this long fur here would be completely gone. And you don't want that, because what will happen is where you join it here, it's all going to be short fur all around this section here, and you don't want that because it loses the effect of the floofiness. This is going to be super hard to show you on a camera, but what we're doing is we're putting the point of our scissors underneath the fabric, but not through the fur. So angle your scissors up towards the ceiling and put it underneath the fabric. Is that showing up? Can you see the blade of the scissors there? I can see it with my eyes, but I'm not sure if you can pick it up on camera. So we're just angling it up towards the ceiling. So basically you're angling your scissors up towards the backing fabric and you're pushing it along the fabric. So This is really hard to describe. I hope that's making sense. So underneath the backing fabric, not the fur, and then push it so it's the blade of your scissors is pushing up against the backing fabric, and then make a little snip, and then push it a little bit more, make another snip, push it a little bit more, and constantly holding pressure with your scissors up against the fabric. And when we pull this away, we should still see fur and not like a haircut. We shouldn't have cut off all that fur. So if we pull this away, see how there's still fur here? That's what we want. If you pull this away and your fur, this part here, is trimmed right up to where your circle is, you know that you've done it wrong and you've actually caught the fur in your scissors rather than just this backing fabric piece. We want to do this all the way around. Now I used to make teddy bears, not very well, but just for something to do and something fun. I used to make teddy bears, so I've used this fabric before quite a bit, so I do know how to cut it. But if this is your first time, just make sure when you're cutting it, you're not cutting your fur. See how there's all fur in here? If that's been cut up to this bit here, up to the edge of your backing fabric, you're not getting your point of your scissors up close enough to the backing fabric. Don't rush this. This is the most important part if you want a floofy pom-pom. So you're pushing your scissors through. I'm not actually going like that with my scissors. They're probably just like that, and I'm pushing them through. So they're just open a little bit. Oh, I'm filming this upside down. It's really hard. Just a little bit. I'm not going like that. They're constantly like this. And I'm pushing that tip of the scissors up against the backing fabric. And if we pull this away, we should still see fluff. So the closer you get to the top of the pile, see how this fur is going down like that? This edge is going to be short. It's just the way the fabric lays. But the edge where the hair goes to, so that's this edge, that should be all long. So that's going to be short because it's just the way the fabric is made. So one side is going to look like that, but it doesn't matter because when we put it all together, you don't know. You should be able to feel the point of your scissors rubbing against the back of this woven fabric. And I'm just hoping that I've done it correct on camera. Alright, so we pull this apart and it shouldn't be short. Yay! A short edge, it's nothing that you've done, it's just how the pile of the fur goes, the direction of the fur, and then it will be long on most of the other sides. This is where you want to grab your comb. That is so loved, this comb, isn't it? And you just want to give it a quick brush. And what we're doing is we're just brushing off the loose fibres. Just brush up against this short edge here, so just give that a quick... I usually just hold it in my hand and brush it. And this will just get rid of all the loose fibres that we've maybe snipped or maybe that are just there anyway. So we're just going around. You can use the dog brush if you want to, but I just find this comb works just as well. As you can see, you get a lot of fluff. I'm allergic to cats, so this is the closest that I get to cat hair. And then we just want to give it a nice little brush. So you can see here that there was quite a bit of loose fur and then all the other stuff that's laying around, but excuse all the background fluff, it's just going to be one of them videos. Right, so once you've got that, you want to grab our sewing thread and our needle, if you can find it amongst all your fur, and we're going to get a length of thread, and I don't measure this. What I do is I hold the cotton reel to my nose, and then I just pull it out and stretch my arm out as far as I can, and then that's how much that's how much cotton I need. I know that's really strange, but it just works. Or just hold it like at your chest. You can't even see me. I'm doing it and thinking you can see me. Hold it at your chest in the middle and then just stretch your arm out. So I'm going to do that and then I'll measure it so you know how much I've got. I have about 80 centimeters or 32 inches of thread, and that's just one length, and then we're going to double it over. So I've threaded my needle and we're going to double it over. So we're going to get the two ends of the thread, put them together. We're going to put the two ends together and we're going to tie a knot. But we want to tie about 3 knots because what we want to do is capture the knot in the fabric, and I found 1 knot definitely didn't work. 2 worked most of the time. Make sure you get the knots all together. And then 3 worked perfectly. So I know I just did 4, but one of them wasn't together with the others. So you've got a knot in your thread and your needle should be on the other end. Now it doesn't matter where we start on our circle, but we're just going to sew through the backing fabric. Again, we're not going to go all the way through the fur because we don't want to capture the fur. It's going to get captured a little bit, but we don't want to capture a lot of it. So we're just basically keeping our needle parallel to the fabric. I think that's how I would explain it. Parallel to the fabric, and we're going to go about 1/4 of an inch, so about that much. 1/4 of an inch. How many centimeters is that? I have no idea. Which I should know because I'm a centimeter girl. It's about just over 1/2 centimeter, so it's not very much. Don't go too close to the edge because you could accidentally rip the fabric and it will just pull out your thread when you're going to pull it tight. But we're going to go about that far from the edge. And we're going to make a running stitch, so that means go in and then come back out about 1/4 of an inch through the other side, and then just weave it in and out. I just kind of like bunch it up, do a few, and then just pull it through. You would be using a thread that matches your colour of your pom-pom if you can, as close as you can. I'm using completely opposites so that you can see what I'm doing. So if I was making this white pom-pom, I would make it with a white thread or a cream or something that is close. Now you're going to come around and you're going to think this thread isn't long enough, but we gather it up, so it's totally going to work, don't worry. Going to go around and we're going to go all the way around, so we're just pulling the thread through. So as you go, you can gather it up just slightly as you go around. Makes it a lot easier at the end, so you're not gathering up the whole thing. So just pull your needle, that's the thread that's attached to your needle, and just pull. See how that's gathering up? So you're going around about 1/4 of an inch. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're not going to see it, but you don't want to go too far away from the edge because it'll make this, when you gather it up, it'll make all these weird bits. So I found 1/4 of an inch is pretty much what works really well. So go until you get to your knot and then pull and then gather it up just a little bit. I sort of put my fingers inside and hold it and then pull. You don't want to gather up too much because we've got to put our stuffing in. And I don't know if this is going to be too much, but we'll see. So poke your threads in if you can, and then add your stuffing. It's going to look like it's not going to fit. It probably will because this stuff squashes down heaps. So just poke it in and then sort of, I put my fingers in the middle to hold it in place and then tighten up your thread. tighten this up. This is where you don't want it to snap. It hasn't snapped, but I try not to pull extremely tight all at the same time. So, and make sure, I don't know if you can see this on here because the white and the stuffing is the same colour, but try not to poke all your floof into the hole. You want to try and keep it out. So just give them a little pat, put all this fur to the back, and then poke the stuffing into the middle. You'll be able to feel around with your finger if there's enough in there. Like I could put a little bit more in there, but I think that's fine. So you can see, I don't know if you can see that thread there, that's supposed to be on the inside. Get in there. If that was white, it wouldn't show as much. So we're going to pull this as much as we can. And then on that last part, I want to hold it tight so that it stays in place. So I'm holding that really tight. So we're going to sew across from here to there. We're going to do like an X, so from here to there and then like that. So we're going to go over this side and you'll be able to feel, you can't really see it. Can you see the fabric, how it's gathered just there? See these little bits poking out here? You got the gathers. We're going to poke our needle through the gathers, so we need to poke it through the backing fabric, because if you poke it through the fur, it's not going to grab when you pull tight on the thread. And you're going to pull tight until it's gathered, and you don't want to have this long thread here, so you want to pull that tight and close it up. So then you're going to go across here. If you've got a really big pom-pom, maybe don't do an X, you could do like a star with some more threads, because that's basically what we're going to be doing. So we're threading through on that side and coming over to this side and threading through there. Is that showing up? I'm hoping it is. So basically you've got an X, but you're pulling it so the X closes up. So you can see all my gathers here. We're going to come over this side now. So we're going to come over here. And I'm not going, I'm sewing into here, but I'm not sewing onto the other side. I'm coming out through the middle. Oops, get that over there. I'm sewing it through the middle and then I'm coming over this side. And you'll notice you'll have some bits sticking out here, so you want to grab those and then do the same thing. We're going to pull all these little gathers into the middle. See how that pulled that across? And over here we've got some. And as we go, we are making sure that these threads, that black thread there, making sure that they're pulled tight. See, I'm pulling really tight on this and you don't want it to snap. See, now it's disappeared. I'm going to do this until all of our little side bits, sorry guys, I'm bringing it towards my face so I can see it, but then you can't see it. If I put that there, I won't move it. Ouch. And by capturing all these little gathered sections, it makes the middle hole close up. I found on a few of the first ones I didn't do this. I just sort of made a couple of X's and finished off. And there was still a hole in the middle. And I maybe am a bit of a perfectionist, and I didn't want it to be like that. So alrighty. So this is a different coloured thread. You can see that most of it has disappeared. I know there's a little bit there, but you're not going to see that. It's going to be on your hat. But you need to get that quite tight, and we're going to make a knot now. We're going to sew through the backing fabric. Before we close up that loop, we're going to put our needle through the loop, and then we're going to just pull that tight, and we're going to do that a couple of times. knew that was going to happen. Oh no. I thought my thread had come out of my needle, but it can't because it's double threaded. Oh. Total blonde moment. So I've got to do that again because I didn't capture the loop, I don't think. Okay, so that's done, and you just want to check, just sort of poke your finger around, and you'll know, if your finger goes into the middle of the pom-pom, you'll know that there's a hole. So we're going to cut that off. So this is where Mr. Comb, that's seen better days, this is where he comes in handy now. So some of the fibres that are around where we've sewn up the hole, they get caught into the threads, so it feels like there's a knot. See how that didn't brush quite easily? Some of the threads have got stuck. So give that a bit of a... Don't get too rough with it because it will continue to molt a bit. You don't want a bald pom-pom. You'll be out, you can sort of see, you may not see that, it's just there, the tip of the comb. It's caught up in the cotton. So just work it out with your brush. You won't get all of it out, but get it as good as you can. And this is our pom-pom pretty much done. So cute. I just like to grab hold of that thread, give me a hairbrush. I think that just takes me back to my childhood. It probably doesn't even need one. It's so floofy. Give it a bit of a shake. And we got a pom-pom. These are so cool. This is the longest pole that I have, and these just crack me up every time. Did anybody have them troll dolls in like the 80s or 90s? That just reminds me of their hair. So I hope you enjoyed that project. Let me know what colour pom-pom you're going to make. Put in the comments section where you've purchased your fabric, because a lot of people may not know where to buy it, or maybe they can't find it. But I'm thinking, this is so, it's like a cat. I can't pat cats because I'm allergic to them, but this is like patting a cat. Sidetracked. Yeah, in the comment section, put where you've purchased your fabric. I can purchase mine at Spotlight, which is in Australia, and I'm pretty sure Lincraft would have this type of fabric as well. So now we have some twins. I love the hair. So now we've got twins. Now I just need me to make some hats to put the pom-poms on. Please share your creations on Instagram. I would love to see what you have been up to. Tag me on over there. And also share on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. The group's more fun because we get to interact a lot more than what we can on a page. The page is more business wise, where the group is more fun. All the links that you need are in the description box of this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, happy crocheting. So now we want to, I'm glad I don't film most of my tutorials like this because this is really hard to keep in focus and camera.